Hello, everybody. This is Tony Gunter here with Gunco Services, bringing you a educational video today. We're going to discuss different construction contract types, and we'll go over the three most common types that you'll find out in the world. Not exclusively, but these are, like I said, these are the three most common types. So the first type we'll cover is it's called the lump sum contract. And what this is a contract worked out to a singular price for the work. Of course, there's always allowances and contingencies involved in that, but it's basically a contract that really narrows down and puts parameters on the contract. It's a great choice for the property owner. It puts a bookend on the cost on within your target price, at least when you go through the design and build process. When you get through it and ready to either go or no go, you're going to know what you're looking at. It's a legally binding document that should outline the project. This is generally outlined, certainly with mine, doing a very detailed scope of work that is actually part of the contract. It becomes an addendum to the contract. Basically, the contract outlines the legalese, and the scope of work is the counting of the nails, as I like to say. It defines what the work's going to be and how much it's going to be. It also, the lump sum contract also gives the owner legal separation from the contractors and their employees and their subcontractors, etc. It places the legal definition of who's doing what and who's responsible for what. So if something happens, nobody's going to come back to you trying to say that these people were your employees. These are independent contractors. The weakness of the project is that it must be very, very well defined with a very thorough, detailed scope of work outlining everything that's going to go on. That's also, depending on what it is, may involve copies of the blueprints or something like that. But basically, like I mentioned, the contract is the legal part of it, and it will point to other parts of the scope of work and other things to help define and quantify exactly what the contract is covering. When I say it's very defined scope of works, many times this will finally get down to SKU number. The little bar tag identifiers that are on things. It could come down to specifying SKU numbers for what's going to go on in the project. They need to be that defined. And certainly on a lump sum project, it should be that defined because from both a consumer and a contractor point of view, you're trying to explain exactly what's going on with this thing and what you're setting out to do. This also, the very thorough scope of work and everything associated with it also helps prevent change orders. Change orders is everybody's enemy. No good contractor likes to mess with change orders. Everybody, we're trying to go into this with the decisions already made, and the only change orders would come up with regards to some kind of hidden something that just wasn't covered in the scope of work, such as finding an asbestos pipe that didn't seem to come from anywhere. All kind of stuff. The next type of contract is called a cost plus contract. Cost plus contracts are exactly like what it sounds. It's the cost of labor and materials plus a percentage markup on both of them. These are great for both the property owner and the contractor when going into a job with a ton of unknowns. A prime example could be clearing of land for new construction. You could have a fixed price contract per the quote, but additional charges may come in if, let's say, engineers have missed some massive boulder or something, and now you've got a dump truck sized rock sitting under where your house is supposed to be. I mean, stuff like that. That's exactly like things hidden in the wall. Often a cost plus contract is used for historical restoration work. Not typically on a full property restoration, but on components of that property, something that requires a lot of high skilled hand labor, massive amounts of CNC work, or having to take all the windows out and send them to a window specialist to have them remanufactured and brought back up to like new, so they can be put back in, but still be historically correct. cost plus contracts are do have some disadvantages. It doesn't necessarily motivate the contractor to keep costs under control. It also doesn't motivate the contractor to be very precise in their cost estimations and cost planning on the front end of things. It can, and there again, just depends on the contractor. It can be a lazy way to kind of get through things, but it's appropriate in certain situations. The last contract we're going to talk about is really the one I really hate, and I recommend everybody stay away from it. But unfortunately, it's also one of the most common. Certainly, most common with people that are not licensed contractors. That's the materials and labor contract. These are, frankly, lawsuits waiting to happen, in my opinion. They are the least precise, most open-ended arrangement, and they very heavily favor the contractor because it's an open-end arrangement. You know, you're paying for the labor and the materials that go into the project. It's great for the contractor if they can't estimate and can't pull together any real good numbers on a project, because you know it's ties labor and materials. It's also great for a contractor that is looking to collect money on a regular basis but not necessarily get the work done. It's fraught with problems. It's certainly a great, and it's the go-to for the unlicensed contractor because it's just simple and easy, and there's, like I said, there's no front end work. There's no nothing. They show up with materials and they start charging. It's also exactly the type of situation that will land you in court if somebody gets hurt on the job. You have to be real careful with these because it can be construed that somehow you were the employer. Just let somebody get hurt on the job. They get a lawyer. The lawyer's going to go after anybody that's got change in their pocket, and that includes you. They will use tactics such as involving the IRS, because if they're paying it like you were the employer, now you have to worry about, oh, you didn't have workman's comp insurance. You weren't withholding employment taxes or Social Security, and it goes on, you know. And then they put a squeeze on you, and they end up settling out of court with you, because that's what they want to do anyway. They don't want to go to court, but they've got a hammer on you at that point. Like I said, I won't say these can't be done right if you're working with a saintly, honest person doing the work that is just motivated, is pure as the driven snow, as they say, providing nobody gets hurt. You can be working with a saint, but one of his guys gets hurt. That's all she wrote. You know, when I'm looking at these things, I'm generally looking at the human nature motivation aspect of things, and I recommend avoiding these. They're not balanced. A good contractor is also going to avoid these, I think, because that's not how they make money in their business. That's not how they make profits. And you know, and when you find somebody that hits all these checkpoints and they're staying away from all these things that might put you as an owner in a questionable situation, you know, just recognize a good contractor when you find them, and be willing to pay them for their professional ways of doing things. You know, that's what you're paying for, and I'm assuming that's what you want, is you want a professional. Another way good way to tell whether or not you're working with a professional or not is beyond just the type of contracts we're talking about, is who provides the contract. I can tell you, a professional general contractor is going to have their own contract. They're not going to walk into a situation where they're not going to be in a position to outline what's going on. If you're dealing with someone who doesn't have a written contract or can't provide you a written contract, steer clear. Many times in the state of Georgia, that's somebody who is not licensed primarily, because a contract of an unlicensed contractor will not be heard in court. So why bother? Trade subcontractors are generally going to be much less likely to have their own contracts as well. They may. Many of them are going to be much more accustomed to signing the GC's, general contractors contracts. That's something that we as the GC are doing. We're collecting the insurance certificates and providing contracts to the subs. They're working for the, you know, in this case, I mean, they're working for me. The subs work for me. I work for you. In that kind of chain of command. So the subs are going to be less likely to have contracts. It's just not what they are accustomed to doing, though of course some will. one important thing to remember in all this is if you're doing a project, especially a big project, and you don't have a general contractor, uh, you're the general contractor. That makes you responsible for all the coordination, making sure things don't have to be done twice, making sure you don't put the drywall up before you put the insulation in or before you get the rough end inspection. You're it. You're it. So proceed with this in mind. And if you are acting as a general contractor, you got nobody to blame but yourself if you don't like the outcome. Also, make sure you collect those certificates of insurance and a W-9 from your contractor to make sure that at the end of the year you can issue them a 1099. Just have that paper trail. If they shouldn't have a problem with it giving you that, and it shouldn't be a different price. Everything should be above board. You know, their answer shouldn't be, oh well, you know, hey, if you want one, I'm just gonna print one off for you. I mean, a lot of guys, you carry them into trucks. It's part of the business. They should be able to provide it. So that's it in a short. That's it. Me trying to be short, not doing a very good job at it. But hopefully this was educational and you learned something. And certainly give me a call. Let me help you with your project. Let me work together with you. Let's put together a plan, and then go implement the plan and see if we can't get to the destination you're looking for. Got to have a map for a journey. So give me a call. Appreciate it.